Welcome, everyone. I'm Ann Marinello, and I'm so glad to see all of you here on this very humid, hot, potentially rainy day, but it's nice to see all of you. Our minister, Reverend Leon Dunkley, is away this week at General Assembly, an annual gathering of Unitarian Universalists, the UUA, being held this year in Baltimore. UUA ministers and members gather to worship, witness, learn, connect, and make policy decisions for the association. It runs from June 18th to the 22nd. It can also be accessed on Zoom, I saw, if anyone's interested in hearing some of the discussions. There's also many announcements in our program here, especially first of all, today Shari Borzekowski will be here with us to offer the reflection. And I've known Shari for a number of years through her work in Thompson and occasionally at Shir Shalom, but we're really glad to have you, Shari. And I want you to all know that there's a potluck after our service this morning, and if you didn't know ahead of time and you didn't bring something or have time to make something, it's usually fine. There's usually plenty of food, and everyone is welcome to come and join. We'll get together and share some time together socially. There is a book at the back of the church, which is for visitors to sign. It's back where Fran and Wenyan are standing, and if you'd like to sign that, you would be notified of upcoming events here at the chapel. There's a children's program that we have on Sundays with Tatum, who is here today with his family, and the kids always have a lot of fun with him. So at a certain point in the service, we will send them on their way downstairs for the children's hour. There are hearing devices at the back of the church which are available, as well as programs with enlarged print, and the hymns that we'll be singing have been reproduced in large print. If anyone wants any of those, you can go back and pick them up. Our opening words are from a Palestinian poet, Mahmoud Darwish. As you prepare your breakfast, think of others. Don't forget to feed the pigeons. As you conduct your wars, think of others. Don't forget those who want peace. As you pay your water bill, think of others, and think of those who have only the clouds to drink from. As you go home, your own home, think of others, and don't forget those who live in tents. As you sleep and count the stars, think of others. There are people who have no place to sleep. As you liberate yourself with metaphors, think of others, those who have lost their right to speak. Also, as you think of distant others, think of yourself and say, I wish I were a candle in the darkness. I'd like to welcome Shari to come up and share with us about her work that she's been doing through the Thompson on HomeShare. I've known Shari for a number of years as I came in and out of the Thompson for various programs, and I'm just so glad to have you here and share with us about an important program you're working on now.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me here to give a reflection this morning. My name is Shari Borzekowski. I've come to talk to you about HomeShare, which has become half of my job and my latest passion. Let me give you a brief overview of what HomeShare is, and then I'll tell you how it came to be here. HomeShare is very simply the idea that somebody with a home with a spare room who might like some help around the house or perhaps a little bit of financial assistance opens that room to a guest who needs an affordable place to live and is willing to provide a little bit of service. So I'll get more into that in a minute. Let me tell you how we got here. 10 years ago, I was baking pies at the Mountain Creamery when a friend of mine who knew I was done baking pies at the Mountain Creamery said to me, "The Thompson's looking for someone. Would you like to go work there? I think you'd fit in really well." And I got hired to be the administrative and resource assistant. And I know many of you because I sat in the reception area for 9 years, greeting everyone as they came in and signing people up for programs. But while I was doing all that, our role as a senior center was trying to address what people told us they wanted most, which was how could they age in place? How could people stay in their homes as they aged? And what did they need for that? And we started developing a resource list, a toolkit that I kept, that I still keep. It's everything from caregivers to durable medical equipment. John at the Lions Club is a very good friend of mine. I refer people to him all the time. And to if you need financial assistance with your heating or with food or any such thing, paying your bills. If you need legal help, I have a vast list that grows all the time. And we also realized that a lot of what was happening was people living by themselves at home maybe didn't need a caregiver, but needed someone, needed some kind of companion in the home. You can't exactly buy that. And so we started thinking about HomeShare as a really great way to help people age in place. So this is not to say that HomeShare is only for older people with younger people moving in. I'll get into that in a minute. But we started exploring the idea, how could we get involved with HomeShare? And HomeShare Vermont, based in South Burlington, has been now going for 43 years, developing a model that is wonderful and very, very thorough. And back in 2020, I started training with them to learn their model. And over the years, with a few tweaks of my own and the help of a volunteer, I work with Gail Emerson, who's across the street at St. James, which is why she's not here with me this morning. We started facilitating HomeShare matches here in our catchment area for the Thompson and a little bit beyond, just Woodstock and the surrounding towns. But back in 2023, HomeShare Vermont started working very seriously to expand their range from Burlington and Addison and Washington Orange counties. They want to be all over Vermont. So they got the Vermont State Legislature, through a lot of work and lobbying, to appropriate some funds to HomeShare to be able to expand the geographic range, and made the Thompson and me a satellite office of HomeShare Vermont. So now our area covers, my area covers what I call Northern Windsor County, everywhere from Windsor, West Windsor, Reading, Plymouth, up to Bethel, Sharon, Norwich, and because I happen to live in Killington, Pittsfield, up to Stockbridge. So I am now officially a case manager for HomeShare Vermont. Let me tell you a little bit about how HomeShare works. Like I said, somebody with a home who has a spare private bedroom in their home, willing to share that room but also common space in the house, is called a host, and a person looking for a home is called a guest. And everybody applies the same way. It's a pretty lengthy application. We will run 3 reference checks and 6 background checks on all of our applicants, because fundamentally, strangers are living together, and we want to make sure we've done everything we can to ensure the safety of people looking to share their home. Nobody who has committed a crime against person or property is eligible for the program. Speeding ticket, we don't care. So what happens is you apply, and then we conduct a very extensive interview. It takes about an hour and a half. If you're a guest applying to live in somebody else's house, you'll come to my office at the Thompson. If you're a host with space in your home, I'm gonna meet you at your house because I wanna see the house and what space you're offering to your guest. And we ask all kinds of questions, everything from, tell me where you grew up, what kind of work and education experience you have, what's your lifestyle like? What's your routine? What do you eat for breakfast? Do you cook for yourself? Don't you cook for yourself? Do you want somebody to cook for you? What sorts of services you might be interested in if you're a host with a house? Do you want help cleaning? Do you want somebody to take you to the grocery store because you don't drive so well anymore? Do you just want an overnight protective presence? You get up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, you fall down, you go bump. Somebody hears you. Okay, they can't pick you up, but they can call 911 because they've heard you and they're there in the house. Do you want a companion to sit and watch TV with or play games? Do you just want another body in the house? Do you just want to collect some rent? It could be any of those things. And so since every person is different and everybody's needs are different, we ask as many questions in advance as we can. That does not mean that's the end of the conversation. It just means we're trying to get it all out there at first. If you're a guest applying to be a HomeShare guest, then we'll ask you, what kind of work do you do? Are you available at night to be an overnight presence? Because some people work the night shift, or a lot of people say to me, I don't hear so well. I'm not gonna know when somebody goes bump in the night. So that's not a role I can fill for someone, but I'm happy to drive them to the grocery store. I'm happy to cook a few meals a week. I love to garden. I'm happy to snow shovel. So we try to get a sense of what everybody's needs and abilities are and what they're looking for in this match. So once we've completed all the background checks on each applicant, we will put you into the pool, and I work with case managers through the rest of Central Vermont, and we think about who might be a good match. But really, ultimately, the matching is up to you. I will make suggestions because I'm the one with the pool of applicants, but the matching is up to you. You're the one deciding who to live with. So I will suggest to the host, I have this guest and this is what they're able to do and this is what their life is like and this is what they care about and this is how much they can afford. Do you want to meet them? And I'll say the same thing to the guest. I have a host, this is the kind of help they need, this is how much rent they're looking for, this is where the house is, that's important. Key, I never thought this was going to be so important. Pets need to get along with each other as much as the people do. And I did not know this would be so hard, but it's interesting. So once 2 people express an interest in each other, I will arrange for an introduction at the house. And I'll be there too, so that really the point is for the people to get to know each other, but I come with a long list of questions. If they don't ask each other, so what do you eat for breakfast? I'm gonna say, what do you eat for breakfast? Do you eat breakfast? Because so-and-so needs help getting breakfast together in the morning. So if you take off with your coffee and you don't stay, I need to know that. And they need to know that. And I will help the conversation. But after the introduction, I will let a couple of days go by and make a phone call and say, so what'd you think? And they can either say, yeah, that could be, this could work. Or they can say, there wasn't a click. And if there isn't a click, there isn't a click. That's fine. That's why we have an introduction. If both people are happy and they want to move forward, we'll do a trial match for 2 weeks, where the guest will move in with a suitcase, not bring a U-Haul full of all their stuff. And the rent usually is not charged during the trial period, but the guest can start to be helpful, and they can see whether or not they're happy together first thing in the morning before they've had coffee. And 2 weeks can go by. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's very clear, not a good fit. And they can leave, and that's okay. No harm, no foul. It's over. We'll move on. We'll try to find each a match separately. But if the 2 weeks go by and they're happy together, we'll call it a permanent match. Permanent is as long as everybody's happy. So what I didn't mention was to be able to codify what is expected in a match. We write up an agreement. It's not a lease. It doesn't have a term. It's a list of expectations of what the host needs, what the guest is willing to provide, how much rent the guest will pay, on what day of the month, anything else about whether utilities will be charged separately. I didn't go over some of the specifics. I'll tell you briefly. For a room in a house, the maximum rent that can be charged in a home share is $650. The maximum amount of service a host can ask for is about 10 to 12 hours a week. So we like to think of it as a scale. The more service somebody wants, the less rent will be charged. So somebody looking for, say, 5 hours of service, some help around the house, and a meal or two a week might charge $300 or $400. And so a guest needs to be comfortable with all of those things. So in a permanent match, we write up an agreement, and everybody signs the agreement, and the agreement lasts as long as everybody's happy, and we ask that you each give 30 days notice if you want to end the agreement, during which time you're obligated to provide whatever service you were providing as a guest. The host is obligated to allow you to stay in your room. If it's really going badly and everybody knows it, and you agree that you can part, you part. So really, it's meant to be what works best for everybody involved. And as a case manager, my role is to be supportive and to clarify and to help when communications break down. Although really, it's important that if you're living in a house with someone, you talk to each other. And just as a great example, one of my favorite matches is a couple over in Quechee, and the host had had a match previously that did not go well. They just didn't click. They both really wanted it to work. It just didn't. And she was willing to try home sharing again. And she's an older woman, and did I already mention, I don't remember, that home sharing does not have to be about an older host and a younger guest. It can be anybody who wants to get involved. There are no age restrictions. There are no income restrictions. Whoever wants to do this is eligible. So I had this host. She was an older woman. She didn't really need a lot of help. She was just looking for some financial offset. And I had this young woman who had just gotten a job in the area, and they hit it off. They hit it off so well that they don't stop giggling. They are the most adorable pair. They're wonderful. And I said to them, you're good giggling now, but that may not always be true. So I want you to plan a regular weekly talk, something. I don't care if it's dinner, 5 minutes, whatever, but a time each week when you know it's a good time to bring up whatever's bothering you. You know, don't let stuff fester. Don't, you know, you're gonna get irritated. When you walk downstairs and you haven't had your coffee yet, and somebody's already in your kitchen and their ground's all over the counter, you're gonna get irritated. And so I wanted to say something. Just speak up about it. Make sure you have open communication. It's really key to living with a brand new person in your life. And a year or so after this particular pair got together, our outreach manager, Rick, up in South Burlington, did a story for them for our HomeShare newsletter. And he said, every time they look at each other, they giggle. I said, yeah, they're really cute. So when you come downstairs after this service, I have a newsletter with a picture of them on the front, and it's their story. And they are still going strong. It's been about 2 years now. This has been, for me, I didn't know this is what I wanted to be when I grew up, a HomeShare Case Manager. I am so loving it. I am so grateful to be part of this process. My job at the Thompson was also something I didn't know I was going to be good at and didn't know that I wanted to do. But as it expands and I get to know a lot of you already, and the HomeShare element now is really about relationship building. I really help people meet and get to know each other and live together in a way that is beneficial for both of them, in a way that I believe really, we have a housing crisis. You all must know about it. There are a lot of homes with one person in them, with a lot of extra space. And I feel like every single time I help people match themselves and one more person moves into that really big house and one less person is alone, I really feel like we're both helping people age in place, we're helping the housing crisis one match at a time, and I am so grateful to be doing it, and thank you so much for letting me speak with you this morning about it. I have materials and flyers and brochures downstairs in the reception area, and hope to talk to you more, and you can always call me and talk. I will always talk about HomeShare. Thank you so much.